turn that down a little bit.
No, I usually have it way down here. I just
Vin, did you get Oh wait, no, they're still sending, but they should be there soon. I'm sending you the videos.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Let me move this baby around.
Lots to talk about today, boys.
Are you ringing it up, Mike? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live, so I did it without telling you guys today.
That was good. That was sly.
Nice, very nice, Mike. Very clever,
Yep.
very clever. So
let me just show our fans real quick. This is what matters, people.
Damn, you're really transforming over there.
Freedom, baby, freedom.
Did you get that directly off the NRA website, or where'd you get
Always
that?
with the joke. Always with the joke.
Did you get some of that? What is it? The Alex Jones energy drinks or whatever the
hell. All fun and games right now, but it's really going down.
Okay, Mike, let's get you to update your mic by chance. Vin, are you getting bad quality from him?
Am I?
Yeah, it's not the best.
Is it too low or what?
Is it coming from your ears?
Wait, hold on. How about now?
It sounds like he's got his nose plugged.
Is it coming from your headphones?
Oh, it's coming from my mic. Hold on. Tell me if this sounds better.
I think you might have to restart it now.
No, it just sounds. It sounds like you're calling in a radio station.
I don't understand.
Caller number 3 is now live, likely to be wearing a Freedom hat.
How about now? How does it sound now?
American Eagle hat.
Oh, that is great. That's funny.
How about now?
Sounds about as good as it's gonna get.
Yes.
So,
okay.
Yeah. Live. What's the date?
Alrighty.
13th.
Oh yeah, we should say the date. What is the 13th?
Monday the 13th.
This is the 4th episode of 23rd Hour, folks. This is we're about 1 month in on this journey.
And you said 2 weeks ago you were going to start running too, did you, Vin?
I have been, yeah.
Really? And what are you at?
Right now I've been doing about 1.1 miles a day. About 3 days a week. I've been upping it every 2 days. I'll do a little bit further.
Nice.
But I'm good. I'm mapped out to be running this 10K in September, so I'm ready to go.
10K.
I don't know about that at all.
What about what track are you doing? What
Actually,
type of...
I did just want to talk about that real quick because I think maybe you guys should join in on this. Basically, the idea behind it is I need something. Did I talk about this last week?
I don't think so.
Okay. So basically, I've come to the realization that I need something to bring me to focus on, something to focus on, basically, to give me drive, to give me a little inspiration. So I've decided to do these runs every day. And as I'm running, I'm basically visualizing myself on race day. And all this shit's gone. It's all over with. And I'm just running that 10K, just proud. All that training, all this crap is done with. Life is normal.
With a bunch of strangers. I'd never thought that I'd say I'd like to go out and just hang out with a bunch of strangers. During running with people, I'd be totally cool with that now. Last time I was irritated. I'm like, get out of the way. Now I'm like, actually, it does give an energy, right? Don't you feel like when you were running, it was pushing you, the fact that everybody else is running too?
Well, yeah, because there's people behind you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I followed a girl the whole time. Not to sound creepy, but
you followed me too.
And Mike. I was following Mike, but I kept the pace with one specific girl the whole time. I was like, I'm not letting her get out of my view.
But yeah, I think you guys should try
It was a
it.
good view.
Try? I ran 9 miles last week, Vin.
In one day?
No, not in one day.
I'm
Actually, I
saying
didn't do
the
9.
10K
I would say it's more like 7. I did, but
the 10K is 6.4 miles. So if you could run like 4 or 5 miles, you're fine.
I mean, no, Cole and I have been talking about doing it. It sucks because actually we should be running one, I think, this weekend for the U of M, but kind of all went down the drain. But yeah, I mean, no, not a 10K, a 5K. You got to build yourself up to that 10K. But I feel like the fall is a good enough time to get trained and ready.
You really got to build up for that.
Yeah. So what's the deal with B? Is he?
So I actually just did a test run with B. B's all set up and ready to go. He's probably gonna be coming in around, what time is it now?
8:12.
Around
9:12.
Around nine a little bit before 9:30.
Okay.
I had a realization. I was like, why have I not brought out notes before? So basically, I didn't have much time, but I did take a couple notes and pointers that I have to bring up today. So, but next time I'm gonna be even more prepared because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
You're really announcing that to the audience here.
What? Like,
people take notes.
Are these what kind of notes are these? Like points relevant to the coronavirus or what's up?
Yeah. The coronavirus.
Oh Jesus.
Right.
I hope B's coming to bring me some backup, man. I cannot be.
I really am.
I'm telling you what, I think B's gonna be on my side with this. Once I bring out these notes, baby. Oh,
I'm pretty excited to see where B lays because I really don't know. I could see him going like a little conspiracy route, but I think he's also very logical. I think he's gonna lean towards you, Mike.
I think he's always been a good middleman. I think he's good
pretty
at kind of he's pretty good neutral. So, and
I mean, there's no logic to be involved with this. It's straight facts I'm about to be spitting.
And this wasn't stuff that you found in someone's backpack, like notes. This is verified by more than one international, media source or something, or.
Yep. You can look all this stuff up. Trust me.
Not just Infowars.
Nope.
Mike, are you talking about David Icke?
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. You saw that, right?
Do you know about David Icke?
No.
Right.
Who's David Icke?
Damn, did you figure out the video thing yet where we can hear sounds?
Actually, you know what? Speaking of that, I need
Mike could probably play sound with the mic.
It does, dude. It's just so choppy. Let's figure it out later. But let me just say that if you watched last week, which I did not because I refused to, it's just too weird. But Nicole was watching.
You gotta watch it.
Nicole was watching it, and she was laughing about how he tried to pull up Biden and his nonsense. And please, for the love of God, tell me you guys seen that memes I sent about him talking.
I did. It's much different with actual sound.
Well, yeah, no shit. You can hear what he's saying. I don't know, man. I thought that shit was hilarious. I think I said that to every single person I knew. That shit was funny, man. I thought it was funny.
Pull up the David Icke video and show our viewers. You gotta watch it.
It's too long. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, I only saw a clip then. Well, then tell him what he says.
Who is David Icke? Tell me.
David Icke. I'm not sure too much on his background.
He's a sports broadcaster, a big one. He was.
Okay, well, he's the one really making this whole relation between 5G and Corona.
Oh boy.
I don't really know how much. I don't know what to really explain about it, but it's a very deep video that got pretty much taken down by all platforms.
It got banned off YouTube.
Yeah, got banned off of YouTube, off of Vimeo, Facebook.
Tell me why. Anybody?
Then I sent you guys the shirtless guy from London Real. Remember I sent that? He was walking around talking about the band video.
Can we just say that no matter what you say, you shouldn't be getting banned off YouTube? Like,
I mean, that is such a complicated thing right there. This has been a
so
problem.
You think that it's okay to ban people's freedom of speech? Is that what you're telling me right now?
No, I think that the problem is the argument with that private, like the fact that it's not a public place. I think that's the main problem with it is like people created YouTube, they run the servers, they own the company. Like they technically can choose who they want to speak, but I mean they should
do it, but why are they doing that?
I think it's very known that there's a lot of a lot of these companies, people like give them a pass, but I mean, they do have some beliefs or.
If there wasn't any fear in the fact of that knowledge getting out, then I feel like they wouldn't want to delete it. They wouldn't care. So I feel like they're just making themselves look even more sketchy.
I think I'm going to have a hard time really following David here. I just pulled up his Wikipedia and it got a little spooky. I can show you.
I'm sure they made him look like that.
No, but Mike, I would recommend it. I'll send you a private link to it.
Can you see this? Like, what is being shown? That's crazy. I can't get it to do this. Whatever. But one thing that let's try this. See if we can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you see his Wikipedia page?
No, not anymore.
What?
We could see the Skype call. Yeah.
Yeah, now I do.
Let me just say this is probably one of the worst things to have on your record right away. Isn't that just like I feel like they use that sometimes as just like a low blow, an English conspiracy theorist. No, I just pulled it up here, and the first thing that caught my eye immediately was this.
It's so easy to make someone look crazy.
Proposes that there's an interdimensional race of reptilian beings called the Archons have hijacked the Earth and are stopping humanity from releasing its true potential.
It said realizing. I don't think that's too far-fetched if you were to really look into it.
No one does. But people want to act like they do. No one actually thinks that. They're like, all right, that's crazy, but it might be possible. You know?
I mean, yeah, of course it could be possible, but
I mean, weren't you guys used to talk about shapeshifters, right?
Dude, remember the videos? Those weird ass videos?
It's kind of like, wow, look at this shit. This is gonna have to be a whole podcast in itself. Don't tell me this guy is the origination of this shit. Is he? Is he the fucking origination of this reptilian shit?
This guy has been talking about this stuff for like 30 years. He's really deep. But he articulates it well, and I think that's like the main issue which is why he got taken down. Like people talk about this stuff all the time, but because he like humanized it and kind of like articulated it really well, I think it was getting people to think a little bit too much, and then they were like,
all right, they are coming after anyone who is bringing up any point that would make people question things. Anything.
Like who?
They're literally saying that Alex Jones is.
He's been saying that. He's been saying that about everything, though. Like literally every subject
since. Cures for the coronavirus, though.
No, but I'm just saying, like, aside from Alex Jones, is there anybody else? Because he's literally been saying that forever. Like that.
No, but there's always the first one. Who's next?
The David first Icke? And the last.
No, now David Icke.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the whole episode with this guy, but look him up on your own, and maybe I'll send you a link to the vid.
Guys, once there's one person banned off YouTube, there's no limit to where that can go. It just keeps getting worse from there.
But I think they've been banning people, Mike. I'm pretty sure they've been banning people.
Come on, you freaking know this, Rogan. Don't act like you don't know this, Rogan.
Okay, we got to get into specifics. Otherwise, it's just too vague. Like, do you want to bring up one of those points, or do you want to wait until B comes?
I'm going to wait till B comes on.
Okay. Also, do you got to chill with the eating?
No, I'll bring up this.
What are you eating?
I will bring up this Oreos. But mention, we all heard the news, right? And I was right.
About what?
The virus came out of Wuhan. It's a bioengineered weapon. That's literally news. That's not a conspiracy anymore.
I don't think that there's been any traction on that yet, like since we last talked about it, just because I was kind of trying to look and see if there was any sort of updates, and it doesn't really seem like there's been anything. But
that leaked out.
That was something that you initially said, so we got to give credit where it's due.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I might have told you that originally off air, but we'll debate that. Kind of like the kooks I introduced you. So,
I guess the other thing I wanted to say was, do we have any updates since last week? Like,
man, did you just hear what I said? Like, this is not. It's literally news. This isn't a conspiracy. They leaked it out the press. Trying to admit it to it.
No. Okay. So the one thing. Okay, let's do two different things, because I think when B gets in, that would be funner to entertain that. But I will say I did watch the press conference today, just a little bit ago. It was literally just 30-40 minutes ago, and it seems like the governors are all saying, along with Trump, that most of the bad wave is done, supposedly. So whatever the real bad thing they thought that we were going to go through is done, and that, I mean, it's not done. Like, we've kind of reached the peak, and then now we should start to see the numbers go down.
That's because it was never about the virus, though. Well, now we're entering the worst part.
Mike, you gotta let him finish. I want to hear real quick.
I'm just telling you updates of what's going on in the media, Mike. But it seems like they're saying that the virus, for the most part, that, like I said, the worst of it has come, and the numbers, the predictions and models that they had are way lower than what they had originally anticipated. And that's not to say that there's any, celebrationary type, like whatever, like still people are dying. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of people dying every day related to it. So, I mean, it's not all good news, but there's some good news to say that it's not as bad as everybody thought it was going to be. So that's a little interesting, because it seems like every single state government agency, along with the federal government, overshot pretty high. So hopefully I don't know if we're going to trust right now what they're saying, that, because I mean, they were wrong initially. So I mean, hopefully they're right.
Why do you think they shot high?
All of them in coordination shot high for or what?
Now, here's what I think. I think they shot high just like a weatherman shoots high when it snows. Like, people like to hype things up a little bit. They want to escalate the fear. They want you to panic shop and get things and kind of spend some money. But it is kind of nice for the first time that it does sort of seem like there is some light coming. Like, you can almost foresee that.
Plus, I think they shot high because they wanted people to fucking listen. If they communicate to everybody, hey, this could be bad, we're not really sure, it's really, who knows, could be bad, could be good, nobody's going to take it fucking serious. So if you say, like, yo, like, get ready, brace for impact, it could be bad, I think that's when everyone started listening to the orders, because we know now, according to certain media reports, is that the government itself was surprised at how much the citizens obeyed the stay-at-home order. Like, they were actually pretty surprised that we were doing it, which is kind of interesting. So they weren't sure if we were going to obey it, like, to the magnitude that we are now. So, but yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think what's going to happen now is there's going to be a little bit of a divergence between the federal government in certain states, and that seems to be what's rocking the headlines today, is that Trump is kind of singing one song and certain governors are singing another. So I guess we'll see what happens. It's just the kickoff of the week.
I would agree on.
Hold on.
What do you agree
on? That it's going to be different governors that really I feel like it's gonna get bad in certain states.
You mean your governor?
Probably, yeah. And the city.
What makes you think that, though?
Because some of them are deep state and some aren't.
How do you know?
Some of them have eyes that look like snakes for a second, dude. It flashes, and you notice the green tint in some of their skins? They could be reptiles, I'm just saying.
Sadly, I do think you guys are living in a slight bubble that you're not really aware of what's actually happening.
This has now become a conspiracy podcast. We have to transition this altogether 100% to conspiracy.
Oh, we don't. We need to
this
is not conspiracies now. This is the truth podcast.
I'm telling you, I'm kind of done with the Escalades and the tinted vans parking out front. I'm done with that stuff. Like, I'm not trying to have that happen again.
You're not gonna have a choice.
You have to explain that to the audience really quick, because what is that? I'm kind of speculating there. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, you have to explain that one, then.
No, just we used to live on a cul-de-sac back in the day, and basically a lot of our family was looking into conspiracy videos and things along that nature, and we started to notice that there were these suburban vehicles all tinted out that would just park in the cul-de-sac and kind of watch the house. And this would go on for months until we were finally like, all right, we got to cut it out. And then they left. So.
Yeah, man.
I have so much to say right now, but I'm going to wait, you know?
Like, wait for B?
Yeah.
I think it's all coming together, man. I think everything's coming together. This is it. This is the culmination, Mike.
We're at war.
We are. We're at war with the virus.
No, not with a virus. We're at war.
Right. Get B on here before this.
But Mike, the only
thing
I will say is, before I get B on and before he hears this, I just want to say it to you is like, as much as I'm basically open to any ideology.
You gotta say Millie or Mike. You can't be saying, I don't know who you're talking to.
Fine, Millie.
So alright.
I'm just saying, I'll believe anything or be open to anything, but you gotta have a little bit of a positive twist on it. You can't think that we're complete doomsday.
Listen, I'm a positive guy, but when the facts lead a different way, you can't just sit and close the blinds.
I'm saying you could be aware of those facts. You could be aware of those facts, and I am too. I've been looking into a lot of it, but you can't be totally closed off to the other side. You have to be neutral, at least in a little bit of a way.
What's the other side?
I'm sorry, but that is not gonna stop us from getting devoured by an enemy. It's just not gonna stop that. I can't be like, I gotta be positive when literally we're in bio warfare. Like, I mean, I'm a positive guy, but we have to look at the facts and talk about it. Like, we gotta let our American people know.
The enemy is China. Please tell me you're saying the enemy's China. Is that the case?
Let's wait till B gets on.
All right, I'm gonna call in B right now.
Wait, hold on. Do not.
Yeah, you cannot lose this.
Yeah, man. You can't screw this up. You can't end the call.
No, I know how to do it this time.
I'm praying to the Lord.
Trust me.
Alrighty.
Did Lou have good feedback from last week?
He's coming in now. I haven't heard anything about last week.
I actually talked to Lou yesterday briefly about him fixing transmissions and shit. Dude, you guys should be utilizing him. If it's the case that he knows how to do all that work, you gotta be fucking talking to that dude.
Oh,
right, are we in?
This guy.
What up? See?
What's going on?
What's going on, everybody? How we doing? How far in are we right now?
I'm trying to rearrange this in a place that will.
We're what are we? 25 minutes in?
Yep.
Yeah, we're 25 minutes in. It looks like you're at a household, not a.
Yes, sir. All right, so Mike,
Wait,
why, Mike D'Amelio, why have you been in the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot?
because I don't got Wi-Fi at the place.
All right. Hold on. I'm sorry for the noise.
It's an undisclosed location. They're looking for him.
Oh, okay. That's perfect.
Yeah, he's been talking off the deep end, so he's got to stay.
Wait, is B in the 4th string? Because I just see him in a small circle.
Mike, you got to grab the circle and pull it down.
Yeah, it's just not working.
Just grab it and pull it down.
Oh. Did you get it?
Hold on. Do I have to do it?
Oh, you should be good.
I don't know.
Why are you laughing?
Because B's really moving around.
I know. Sorry, I wasn't ready.
I haven't seen B in like years. What's up?
I know, man. What's going on? Not much.
Hey.
You know, the same as everyone else, I guess.
So, real quick, I guess I'll give you the usual intro. Okay. Thanks for coming on the 23rd hour. This is the 4th episode here. We have Rob Musante from Franklin Park, New Jersey.
Pleasure. Truly. 23rd hour is what we settled on, you guys?
Yeah.
Not bad. What was the other options? I like that one the best, I think. 20 seconds.
Three Musketeers was the original.
That was the worst one.
Yeah.
23rd hour, it basically airs Mondays at 11, the 23rd hour.
Ah, very good. I like to switch to Monday, too. I think that's smarter.
We thought that we'd get you on the rails before this, or get you on this before shit went off the rails, because we're having a battle between, I don't know.
Oh wait, can we hear B's opinion just like on the virus, like in general?
Yeah. So before we input anything, B, what are your thoughts about everything that's going on? How have you been living life, and has it affected you much?
All right. Yeah. Good idea.
Be honest with how unhealthy you've been.
Sure, actually. All right, let me start. I've been working from home. I was one of like the later ones. So I didn't start when everyone started, but it was like a few days before. I think I started working from home the Wednesday before that weekend was the New Jersey governor's lockdown. All right, so since then, so almost a month. And I fucking love that. I've been saying my job should have been from home forever because I don't need to be there. So it's dope as far as that goes.
Nice.
Other than that, I've been kind of lazy just with like whatever else. Unhealthy wise though, not too bad. I've been trying to get some workouts in at home, some like calisthenic push-ups type things. I've been going on like jogs because I don't fear the outdoors, unlike our government.
Right. Oh man,
I told you.
So wait,
let me give
you nervous, Mike. I'm getting nervous.
Let me try to like go.
I told you, B's a smart guy.
Let me try to go from the beginning because there's been like differing opinions even from myself as things change, right? So
yeah.
So let me try to see where I could start here. So I remember hearing about it back in like late December, early January. Jack Posobiec from One American News was talking about it, but it didn't seem like a big deal. And then once it got real, I was like, I still went on a plane to Colorado in late February. You know, wasn't worrisome. And then basically this is my thing. What happened in Italy? Because we all know not to give a fuck about China, right? Once stuff started happening in Italy, I was like, all right, this is the basis of kind of like similarly what was going to happen here to an extent, right? Different culture. Everybody gives 2 kisses to, you know, their grocer. Like 3 generations of families live in the same complex type of thing, right? I've been there. Not to brag. But it would be kind of similar, right? So my initial estimate off of nothing but just sheer whatever the fuck's going on in my head was going to be around 20 to 30,000 deaths here, no more than 50. That's what I always thought. When they said millions, I was like, they're fucking nuts. When they said 100K, I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not. Is it worse
So
than the flu?
what do you
like that? It seems like it's worse than the flu, right? As they say. So I'm not trying to compare it to the flu, but it does spread like the flu because it's a virus.
What are your thoughts on the timeline of this? When do you think it's gonna pass?
What do I think? What's gonna pass? Because I think
when do you feel like things will
All right,
kind of?
I know where B is going here. I can tell.
the peak of the actual like virus concerns are pretty much either past or like we're right at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
they've
pretty
been
much
saying that we're at it today. That's what we were just talking about to fill you in on before you go on. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what
And
spot
what
on.
comes after that, B?
I do not know. I mean, I think so. Right now, our state, New Jersey, is under lockdown till I believe the end of the month, right? That's like what the day was given originally.
Yeah, April 30th. Yeah.
Barring something outside of the trend right now, I think that sounds good to me as far as stopping it. We'll see. This is the hardest hit area, which is a little tough too, like New York, North Jersey, especially, but Jersey, I guess. So if it goes like a little bit farther in Jersey, like maybe we'll see, maybe like another couple weeks. I still think into May is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. I do think the rest of the country though should have opened up yesterday.
I mean, we have like 1,000 people that have a case out of like 4 and some million people in our state. So I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, it's kind of so interesting because like since it is I forget the word they use for something that gets
pandemic.
Passed. Yeah, no pandemic, but like I guess contagious disease, right? It's very interesting how it's not because you can compare it to like something like car crash statistics, right? Which I don't think is invalid because people don't ask to be in car crashes, right? Like it's not like when you compare it to like drug deaths, that's tough because that's brought upon yourself, right? For the most part, car accidents is a little bit more comparable because somebody else could kill you. But again, like it's a risk you take kind of thing. But this is very like the most like passive detriment to yourself. It's very passive as far as you getting something when you're just going about your normal life. So it's interesting because like it's a tough situation. It's like a pandemic is what would most warrant the type of reaction we're seeing out of anything. But I don't know if it's still worth it.
Okay,
so
now
let's just say I got something that I can't get out of my head, and it's the fact of like, so let's say, and Mike, let's just pretend this is all real for 1 second. If it's the case that all of a sudden we are opening everything back up, and let's just say if it's in May or even fuck it, let's just say it's in the fall, it's all opening back up, right? Like, how is it that the whole world can get infected by one city like Wuhan, and then it takes a couple months and it just goes away? Like, aren't we all going to start spreading it once we go back out into the public? Like, what happens when New Yorkers start traveling everywhere, just endlessly again? And it's like, wouldn't it just continue to spike up, and we'd just be forced to continuously like fall back on right now? Or is the government just buying time to make respirators? It's just like, that's what I keep wondering. Like, are we going to be like, oh shit, when we open everything back up, like, yikes, it's getting brutal again? Like,
that was my concern.
I don't get that.
That was my concern. Like, what, like, how there's like a flu season. Imagine if there was just like, all right, like, well, it's the fall again. It's time to lock everything down.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's not ever going to end. It's going to keep coming back in waves.
Right. It's going to just
the end of
the sick cycle every year.
But that sounds like that sounds like that sounds like the prequel to a movie, to be honest.
We are in a movie. Have you been to a store recently where you hear the robot saying practice social distancing?
Oh, dude, that video of that drone in Dumbo, right near like the base of the Brooklyn Bridge, there was a video. It's like a nice park.
I saw it, yeah.
You saw that, and the drone was hanging out. Like, they didn't say if it was from the police department or not, if it was private. But either way,
they're just like shouting at people and shit,
saying like, please keep a 6-foot distance.
I heard that.
I mean, B, have you been in like Stop and Shop? Have you been in Walmart or Stop and Shop? You heard it, right, on the speakers? It's
freaky. No, I remember that.
They say the same thing.
Like last week sometime. Also, real quick,
Well,
are
now,
we cursing? Can I curse? I'll try not to anyway, but
You can.
I curse endlessly,
Alright.
so
just
you're in
checking.
the clear.
first of all,
No,
you
I
cannot.
don't know. I feel like even just the it coming back in waves. I just don't understand how we could be in this situation, and then we just open back up, and it's just like there's no issue or concern. Like I just don't get it.
This is what you're saying, or what you guys asked me before about how I think about the lockdowns. I buy the idea of what's the word? Not spreading the curve, flattening the curve, right? I get what that's about as far as less physical interacting. That's another thing too, by the way. I hate this social distancing. It's not social. We're socializing right fucking now. It's physical distancing, right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I understand why that makes sense to flatten the curve to not overwhelm a system. Like, if there's only so many respirators.
Wow, that could
All right,
go
guys.
subliminally.
What?
I feel that there's
That
an
could be
elephant in the
subliminal.
room, guys.
It could be subliminal, right, Vin? Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, why is it called social distancing? I never got that. It's literally
Just
not.
so that you're
not
used to it
good.
in the future.
Right?
You're already familiar with that term.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty interesting, right?
But like the
See,
curve. So the core of my
I'm gonna have to
question
ask a question.
the core of my question
I
is
gotta.
can't the curve just continuously be revitalized, like just revived?
Yeah, so this is what I always thought, right? Like, I understand the flattening of it because if you've got, like, let's just say a hospital's got 50,000 ventilators and there's maybe 100,000 people a week got it and needed them, you don't have enough. But if you spread it out to 50K per week, we're in and out, and the next 50K come in, they use them, then you could save lives by like having, almost like taking turns on the ventilator. But at the same time, like they never said, and it doesn't make logical sense to say that the quarantining is going to limit the number of people that actually get it. It's just making sure that we don't all get it at once, which I understand that logic.
You're talking about short term versus long term.
Right, but it doesn't say that it's going to mitigate the spread over the long run. Like, you're absolutely right. As far as when we leave, we'll all just be exposed like we would have been. It just will now, everyone that's been exposed is already good. So, like, that's a lot of people, like, taken care of, quote unquote, like, out of the, consideration for things like hospital beds and the ICU, stuff like that.
So do you think the government's just buying time? I think that's the ultimate question is the whole thing that a lot of people, I think that there's many millions of people that think, oh shit, coronavirus is gone. Let's go out. Let's go to the movie theater and all this shit. But it's not going to be like that, I don't think. I think it's always going to be here. And I think that the government's just trying to buy time to have supplies for it.
Yeah, that's I think what the idea was. But what's interesting to me now is that what was the plan of coming out of this? Because the thing is, when you say that the social distancing was to buy time, which I think too, there was no plan about like what happens when all the cases do hit after all that. You know what I mean? Like, and now they're kind of talking about, instead of just flattening the curve, they're talking about crushing the curve. Like, we're not going to do another concert until there's no new cases. And it's like, no new cases. Like, a motherfucker got the bubonic plague a couple years ago. Remember that?
That leads into
going away.
Right.
Like, if it's just part of our flu season and it's like another disease, we live with it like we do the flu or any other disease. Literally anything else that could kill you out in real life at all times.
B, do you think that there is anything going on behind the scenes?
Well, I'm sure. I'm not privy to those rooms, though. What do you mean? What are you thinking? I know you got thoughts. I haven't watched the last week's episode, so what were you guys been talking about before I got on?
Well, I'm gonna have to jump in.
I think Mike had some notes that he wanted to talk about. So if you want to talk about them now.
Oh, I will.
Well, real quick, before you get to that, this is an interesting thing that just came up on my radar because of something Trump said in the tonight's presser that I heard about. I'm seeing a lot of hubbub on Twitter about this. He said something about the president having some total power of being able to basically reopen when he wants. What do we think about that?
Sure.
I think there's going to be a huge battle over this. I think it's going to be, it's not, I don't think that he has full power in that regard. I mean, there's a lot of things you can look up. Like people, like you learn a lot of this stuff, like given in the past, like, oh, when world wars happened or this or that, the whole country was mobilized. But how do you get people to do that? How do you force them to have to do that? And they use these acts, the Defense Act, the Non-Peace Whatever Act, and all these different things to get where basically the executive branch of whatever, whether it's a local, state, or federal government, they suddenly take control. But I don't think that they're ever really going to turn into a big boxing match. The only ones I could see him fighting with are maybe a couple like super, other political side where they're really beefing over the time frame or this or that. Because even afterwards, I watched that exact question that you said, and the reporters were jumping all over that because that's a good little soundbite. But and I don't even know why he said it like that. It was kind of strange the way he said it.
I'm like, dude.
Yeah, it was really weird. And it's like, why say that? Because you're just gonna cause, that's gonna cause like a bunch of fights. But I just think that what it's gonna come down to is like what he was saying. His follow up was saying, well, then nobody's gonna vote for them in the next election, and it's really just gonna get all wrapped into election battles about who did it right, who cares more about the economy, who cares more about health.
The question is, do you think that they are going to delay the election, or do you think they're gonna go right into it?
You think they're gonna delay it? You're asking?
I'm asking, do you guys think they're gonna delay the election, or are we just gonna go in?
I think it's gonna be a huge battle over mail-in ballots. They've been fighting forever about mail-in ballots, so I think that what will happen is it's really going to come into whether or not you can mail in your votes or do it electronically.
All right, let's let this man speak.
Mike, come on, you're up with that. Let's go.
It's time. Let's stop living in this bubble, guys. Please. What are we all freaking drones in this whole podcast? Holy crap!
What did he say?
What? It was leaked from the press yesterday that the U.S. government.
All right, take it down.
You got to take it down.
It's the U.S. government gave $3.7 million grant to the Wuhan Lab Center of the coronavirus leak, performing experiments on bats. They literally sent money to create this virus. It came out of China, and it is literally a bioweapon. So why are we all living like it's not? I don't understand.
Hold on. We gotta give a little bit of like sourcing or something. Where did you get that from? Because I was really trying to look for that today.
Daily Mail.
Pull it up.
That is from the Daily Mail. I have a screenshot.
The Daily Mail already is going to be a struggle because a lot of people do not like the Daily Mail because they're super ultra right partisan. But we can pull it up.
You can pull it up.
Daily Mail is English, right? It's always .uk.
Yeah.
No, it's .com.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's English.
No, it's a UK media company, Mike.
I don't trust those Brits either.
I mean, the first thing that comes up is Trump ignores 22,000 coronavirus deaths to launch furious revenge strike on the media.
I mean, that is a source.
Keep going. Keep talking while I research. I'm just trying to.
This is all I was going to say about the labs. That's interesting because that was interesting news with U.S.'s investment in that. I don't have much to say about that because I just found out myself, right? I never did.
Literally because this has been a plan from the beginning. In 2017, Fauci, the little guy that's always next to Trump, he literally said that there will be a surprise outbreak that comes in Trump's election. This is back in 2017. There's videos of Obama saying it too. There's videos of Fauci saying it. Now let me keep going.
There's videos of Bush too, but
they have been talking about like. Here's the thing though. Something does happen every like 5, 6, 7 years. Not like this in the response sense, but
he said that there will be a surprise outbreak that literally like destroys the economy. There's a video of saying that, and he's literally like said it would be a surprise.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Like what he's saying is that this has always been the case where it's possible.
When has that been the case that there's a surprise?
We had an Ebola outbreak in like 2000. What was it? 2012. We had a really bad Ebola outbreak.
So what? He knew that it was going to happen, and so did Obama. They both said the same thing.
No, the fear was that when they had experienced the Ebola outbreak, Ebola is only transferred from air to air, from surface to surface. So you can only get it; it cannot survive in the air. And their fear was, like for instance, if you even research the Spanish flu, after it disappeared, did you know that flu actually literally disappeared? Like they didn't have anything to like get rid of the Spanish flu back then. This is right after World War I. Eventually, it vanished. And since then, they say that epidemiologists have been scared forever that it will return, or that a variant of it that's airborne could return. So it's, I mean, imagine Ebola could fly in the air. That's essentially like what the coronavirus is. It's a dumbed down version.
I don't see what that has to do with him literally saying it was going to happen exactly when Trump was president. And not to mention, he's the one pushing for a vaccine. He's also the one saying that we will probably never be able to touch anyone's hands again. He's saying that this will probably be a reoccurring thing that happens every probably 2 months. And let me just keep going.
So here's what I think about Fauci.
So first of all,
Fauci.
the whole
Yeah, let's hear your Fauci thought.
I think Fauci is doing what he does. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any reason yet to believe that he's got some crazy nefarious motives going on.
So you don't think it's weird that Fauci is on the leadership council of like Bill Gates Foundation that literally founded the coronavirus in 2017?
The Bill Gates stuff's kind of interesting too, because I don't know. I see a lot of stuff about the Bill Gates stuff. I don't know if I could buy into all that Bill Gates stuff as far as.
A patent for the coronavirus was granted in 2018, founded by the Gates Institution.
Yeah, but you're not talking about what the Gates Institution has actually done for disease in the world. Bill Gates himself is actually responsible for eradicating certain diseases. Like, I think there's some crazy facts on malaria and how much he's provided to stop deaths in Africa. Like, if he was to do this master like evil plan, I don't know why he does the philanthropic work that he does. You know, like this whatever you say, philanthropy, whatever.
Is testing
because it's BS. You're ignoring the fact that the richest people in the world want depopulation. They say it would be a better world if there were under 500,000 people living here.
He said something interesting one time in the TED Talk that sounded like population control, and I was like, that's odd, but I don't know.
We talked about it before.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fauci though, real quick. So I don't think he's nefarious, but I think what he does is that he does public health, right? It's like, what's that joke about, like, architects come up with a design and they bring it to the engineer, and the engineer says, you want to do what? Like, Fauci's thinking like, an example, like an architect, as far as like he deals with infectious diseases. So of course he thinks that not shaking hands would help him deal with infectious diseases.
For good?
We need like some engineers in that joke about like, saying like, all right, well, we can't just like do that. We've been shaking hands for a couple thousand years. Like, what I'm saying? Like certain things like that.
Yeah, like the middleman trying to find like reasoning behind that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's nefarious, but I think he just doesn't. I think he's got very much tunnel vision on what he has been an expert in 40 years, something,
In that regard, I do think we're going to see a big switch in the way that we interact with people after this whole thing.
Yeah, that's my fear. People are just going to start like being less, like they're going to be more apprehensive to walk into a crowded room. They're going to be like more, keeping their distance. I think that sucks so bad because I was always, for a while now, been a proponent of us doing the exact opposite, like it is in like Italy, for example. I think it's so dope how there's just no such thing as personal space to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's like a more cohesive society. I think it's cool. Now we're going to literally be doing we're going to get even colder. Like, we already had a much colder atmosphere and like culture in this country as far as not being very like touchy, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm.
We take after I mean, think about nightclubs. Think about fucking concerts when you're just there with strangers. Like, I was planning on being at Rolling Stones in like 3-4 weeks with fucking 60-something thousand people. You're not thinking about who you're standing in line with, trying to get through security or anything. But now I just feel like there's going to be a little bit of a consciousness about it. What's going on.
I think it could be a little detrimental. Like, I think in some ways it'll be very good. Like, we'll be used to, if you run to the store real quick, come home, the first thing you do is wash your hands. Like, that's not a problem. That's like a good thing, right? Or just being more like, I'm, more conscious of not touching my face, which I've always should have been, right? But like certain things, like not shaking hands or like not, going avoid. And people don't hit men. It's like
Los Angeles is paying people to snitch on people that are hanging out with friends. The government is paying them.
Government's
you don't
what?
think that's weird?
Good grift.
The government is paying people in Los Angeles to snitch on their neighbors to having group gatherings. Does this remind you of history in any way? You don't think that's a little too far?
Yeah, that's how the communists did it. That's how the Jews. That's how the other Jews snitched on.
Exactly.
Because they thought they would get, some kind of privilege.
I think that's a little hyped up though, Mike, like to just get people to be conscious, because there's probably, I mean, you've been to California. I mean, how many fucking people just live in their cars, for Christ's sake, just when you're walking around? I mean, remember we're just fueling up at the gas station and people are like just in tents and shit? Like, no, I know. I'm just saying, like, when there's a disease epidemic going on, we can't have what's going on in LA, the day-to-day LA shit. Or imagine just like every day you have to use the subway. We talked about this last week. Like, can that all keep going when there's an airborne virus going on? Like, and you have to imagine, if you're part of that leadership, how would you tell people? What would you tell them to do?
I would say I'm
What's if you didn't have enough equipment to help the people that you're serving right now? What would you tell them to do?
I think that you're just giving them like a little too much room to literally take away our rights.
No, but I'm saying, how do you manage it? Like, not forget about that part. Like, what do you do?
In that situation, you just do this, what we've been doing. But when you take it to that step of snitching on people for hanging out with people, and you're gonna pay them, where does that lead? It only goes down a rabbit hole from there. Where is that gonna lead? Now, I predicted that this was a bioweapon on the first podcast we did, and that comes out true. I'm gonna say right now what my belief is, and this is going to come out. I'm predicting it right now. Everyone surrounding Trump right now, besides Mike Pence, is a traitor to our state and our government, and they will be exposed because they're working for the deep state that has funded the coronavirus, and they will all be in prison unless they win. Now, let me just pull out some facts for you about the people surrounding Trump now. Okay? Fauci, he's on the council of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Deborah Birx is board of the Global Fund to fight AIDS, funded by the Gates Foundation. Robert Redfield, director of the CDC, researched $38 billion, founded by the Institute of Human Virology by the Gates Foundation. Sama Berna, the Indian girl, worked for Desmond Hellman, executive officer of the Gates Foundation. They all work for Gates. They're all traitors to Trump, and he knows this, and he's waiting.
I don't know. I still like. I don't really the whole this person worked there, so they're like bad. I mean, how many fucking virus companies are there in the world? Like, if you're in virology, like how many places do you really work? I mean, it's not like fucking like, oh, I'm a chef, and I worked at Applebee's and worked my way up. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's not that many foundations that do this. Like it's not like a creepy coincidence to me that you are an expert and you worked for the largest foundation that like specializes in disease. That doesn't make me think like shit.
Is proved to be pushing for depopulation.
Don't you think they would have been harder if it was depopulation?
Yeah, I mean, this just seems like the weakest version of that ever.
Everyone who predicted the New World Order said by 2020 it will begin. This is the beginning. That's why you shouldn't take these things that are happening right now lightly. This is the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of it's the end of America if they win. We're going to be a third world country, and we're not going to have any rights anymore. China is going to literally, once we're vulnerable enough, they're going to destroy us. If we keep letting this happen, keep letting the lever get pushed farther and farther, when are we going to wake up and actually stand up for America and keep acting like this is okay?
Dude, I'm willing to throw a whole bunch of mud towards China because, like...
Yeah, but China really said, yeah, we created the virus, but you know who funded us? Your government. They literally said that. That is news.
Well, my question is why Why did they do it?
That's very vague though. I don't like that because we even give, I mean, even like sanctions, for instance, like releasing sanctions on North Korea, releasing sanctions on Iran. That's money. Like a lot of it is funds related. So would you say, oh, the US gave money to North Korea, Trump gave money to North Korea? It's like it is and it's not. Like it depends on the nature of how it's done. Like we all support all sorts of different research across the world. I mean, we have the International Space Station, international, you know.
That's ours.
Well, I'm saying is that it's something that we all utilize. You know what I mean? And like so these types of things too, like
to the Wuhan lab where the center of the coronavirus leak happened. You don't think it's a little weird?
No, I think it's really weird. I actually do think that it has more to do. I think that it has more to do with the possibility that China, like, so it seems like people are starting to even whisper about the fact that this virus was here around Thanksgiving or before, and we'll never really know because the communist government of China isn't being transparent about it. So they're not gonna, you know, the problem is that they're not cooperating. They're probably destroying things. I mean, don't you guys remember back at around New Year's when I sent you guys that article? I said, dude, fucking China's building a hospital in a week. Like, they're building a massive hospital in a week. Something is going on there. Like something's up, and you know
I got super sick in the fall too. I don't know about you guys, but I was.
There's a lot of people that think that it's already been here.
I mean,
very similar.
Really January.
I wouldn't be that surprised if half of us have already had it and passed it through.
I don't know if you guys like Bill Maher, and Mike, you might really not like Bill Maher, but comedian. Do you guys all know who he is?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, he did a video just the other day on YouTube, and I watched it, and I was like, "This dude's spot on." Like, he's like, "We cannot be like, we got to take the gloves off when it comes to China." Like, people in the U.S. don't get it. Like, it has nothing to do, and like I said, I really mean this. You do not want any sort of racial discrimination or anything against any Asian Americans or, you know, Chinese people just in general. We're not talking about that when we say the word China. We mean the actual regime, the government that runs the place. Like in Washington, D.C., could you just imagine if we had like a protest and then we just like there was protests with a bunch of students and then Trump sent out soldiers to gun them all down? Like that's what happened in the Tiananmen Square massacre like 20 years ago. Like it's not that long ago. That's the way that China deals with certain things. I don't think it's a secret that anybody knows that China's kind of messed up with some of the stuff they do, but for some reason it's like taboo to criticize them. Like, I don't know. Like the fact that you couldn't even call it anything related to the Wuhan virus. He was saying that in the video. It's like we have like Ebola is named after the Ebola River where the virus is found. Like Rocky Mountain fever, freaking East African viruses. There's so many viruses.
Middle East, like it just like is what it is. Like, and people always say like, oh, Spanish flu didn't actually come from Spain, but somehow got that name, and that's what the name is, and it's not a problem. You know
exactly. What I mean? Yeah. Like, why is it okay to have the Spanish flu, but you can't have the Chinese?
Trump calls it the China virus because China is the only hope left.
Did you guys?
If Clinton won, we don't know. We would have America would be done. It'd be over. It's the only hope.
Did you guys know that coronaviruses apparently have been around since like even the dinosaurs had coronavirus?
I told you this. I said COVID-19 is a strain of it.
Yeah, it says coronavirus on the Lysol cans because it does kill like all coronaviruses, not this one. So it's been around. I don't know.
SARS was a coronavirus. That's what SARS was.
But I'm saying it's crazy that we took on that broad of a name, right? Like this is like for the most part, this is the coronavirus, but the coronavirus has been going on for thousands of years. It's
just colloquial, right?
It's kind of weird we took the broadest name out there.
Yeah.
It's funny because like you're like, so right, Mike, with the whole like, especially the way this happened with information being suppressed, all that stories of like the original doctor, patient zero being just disappeared, you know, essentially like her information working at the lab being gone. Like, come on, man. Like,
I mean, what the fuck is that about? Imagine if like imagine if we had a city here the size of New York and there was a whole fucking like we were building a hospital in a week. We weren't telling any of the world. Like, imagine this happening in Philly, right? And then doctors start speaking out in Philadelphia at the actual hospital, and those doctors just start disappearing. They're getting murdered. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, like you said, like it's not about Chinese people, because I feel bad for anytime I talk about something like these types of countries, I'm like, I feel worse almost for their people than our own, in the sense that, like, not only do they suffer under their regime just like we do with this, but they do all the time. So, like,
Yeah.
we're not talking about them, and we're especially not talking about Asian Americans. If they're getting any hate, that sucks. If they're getting jokes, it also sucks. But they're just gonna have to go.
No, yeah. I mean, think about it. You didn't have a choice. Nobody had a choice. I mean, I didn't get a fucking choice to be born in the Arctic cold of Minnesota. You're just fucking born. You just wake up one day and you're just like, whoa, here I am. Yeah. And if you're in fucking China and you're like, all right, I'm gonna be a doctor, and this whole shit happens, it's like, damn, man, wrong cards. I don't know. I mean, it's sad though. It's not like super funny to be laughing about. It's just like, but here's my thing. Like Bill was saying this in the video, and you guys got to go watch this. Like, he's saying that this place is like these parts of China are like, dude, they're like, if Mike's theory isn't true, like if it's the case that they didn't release the virus from like it somehow escaped this facility, it's very possible that we could be sitting in this situation all over again. Like, given the circumstances of what they're doing, the types of animals that they're eating and interacting with, like, it could be like, imagine if this shit came back and it was worse. And I brought this up in the first thing. I said, what's if there was a virus that specifically went after children? Could you imagine, like, how much more hysteria there would be? Like, people would be bugging.
It's crazy. Well, no, because putting that tricep away, Mike. I was getting distracted.
I think when it affects the future generations, that's when you have mass, like, commotion. People are not leaving if it affects the kids.
Actually, that's a good fucking point, Mike. If they're trying to thin population, why wouldn't they go after the younger people? Because
no,
people are
I agree with Mike.
Anyway.
I will say, this is the beginning. This is them testing out what they can get away with. That's why it makes me so mad that we are just sitting here letting our freedoms be taken away. Because this is how they do it. They send out the test. They see if it'll work. They see if we will bow down. And what are we doing? We're doing that exact thing. We're letting this happen.
That's it, Mike. I'm gonna find the text where I sent you, Mike, when the election was happening for Phil Murphy, and I was telling you, hey man, you're gonna get a firearm. You better get it soon because this dude gets elected, it's over. I remember telling you that's when freedoms get taken away, dude. Like,
to Mike's point, though, I do think that if you were going to test something, you would probably start it out smaller scale just to feel out the reaction. And to be honest with you, I'm actually surprised with the reaction. I personally feel like there would have been at least one crowd that's protesting it. But honestly, for the most part, it seems like very cooperative. Like, most people are just kind of taking it and saying, you know what, I'm going to do what I can to keep people safe. But like, you would think that there'd be at least a group somewhere that's kind of like protesting this and like trying to go out and just live normally, run their business. Like, you don't really hear businesses running like illegally. I was saying, like, imagine if you hear on the news, like, underground nightclub found with 1,000 people partying on a Saturday night in New York City.
I could see that shit too. I could see some shit.
I feel like there's going to be some underground operations starting up if it were to keep going.
There will be, absolutely. I think by like the summertime, if they still want lockdowns, like, yeah, right. You know what I mean?
That's
think about like
time.
What about even just a less like whatever one? Like you were talking, Vin. Remember when you said that you saw like some of those shops opening up in New Brunswick? They're like just getting ready to open up. Like those people also maybe want to do business too. You know, they might be taking out $1 million loan a couple weeks ago, and now they're like, shit, like we gotta get on this. So, I mean, you can see it happening, but
that's one thing.
I'm interested
one thing I want to say is
what
anybody
happens.
who thinks that if you want the lockdowns to cease are only in favor of and are only interested in dollars and like, you know, the billionaire stock portfolios, suck a dick, man. Like, most billionaires are fine. Even if their businesses are suffering, they obviously got the cash to get through it. And not only that, most of them, like other than like I guess airlines and like maybe a few others, most of them just switched to online and like are still like business as usual. So they're fine. It's regular old
main street ass stores that are in trouble with lockdowns, like not
Seriously,
millionaires.
that
like
kind
we
of goes
know
towards
that
Mike's
Applebee's
point.
are gonna come back, but do you know if your favorite fucking restaurant's gonna come
Right.
back?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that's
Wouldn't
fucked.
The big
that
business.
kind of goes towards Mike's point though of like getting rid of these smaller businesses and keeping the major corporations like running more and more.
But wouldn't that happen with any natural disaster? Like, let's say a hurricane to Florida. Like, the Applebee's is going to open back up easier just because of the structure of the business versus a mom and pop place that may have gotten destroyed.
Direct assistance for something like a one-off incident, like a hurricane. You got to recover. I mean, people recover for like years in certain places, right? But like, it's once it's done, it's done. You can start rebuilding. It's almost like a hurricane's been going on for a month now and a half or whatever.
The only difference though with a natural disaster is that the businesses have the right to try. Like technically in this situation, like you're forced to shut down. Like you don't really have an option. That's
well, I think that's where the federal legislation comes in, though, where they're dumping trillions. I mean, word is they're talking about another $1 trillion to $2 trillion for infrastructure and businesses. So
yeah, that new small business one, right? Like 250 billion. I don't know, man. I don't really know enough about all that. Like printing money just doesn't sound like a good idea. But is he talking now?
We're gonna be having $10 coffees soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jesus. Oh, it reminds me, I got a golden spy. I'll do it after.
Is Mike talking?
I don't know.
We can't hear you, Mike, at all. I haven't heard you talking maybe 10 minutes. Just kidding, not 10. Maybe a good 3 or 4.
A minute or 2. There was something else, man. There's so much to talk about with this because, like,
the XFL went down. Oh my god.
All right. I didn't watch a single game.
Me neither, but
wasn't gonna say,
you're gonna open up a league against the NFL and then fucking this happens.
Yeah, imagine. They were doing well apparently too.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you if you've heard anything about the UFC.
Oh, I heard about
Island.
I heard about Dana White's Island, but then now I heard it's canceled. That was supposed to be what? UFC something.
Wait, they canceled it? The last I heard was that they were still going to be doing it.
No. It was like a day or two ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I was pissed when they said Khabib was stuck in Russia. I was like, oh, God damn it. Like, that fight versus Tony Ferguson would have been sick.
I mean, I think it would have been even sicker if it was just like a private fight like that. Like,
imagine that, like, on an island, like, I don't know.
Like
but
on a beach
I saw a clip of the WWE, what was it called? I forgot what it was called, but it was so awkward. Like hearing like the WWE announcers to like just silent background ambient noise was just so weird.
I got to see that. I did hear that they did their matches like just with no crowd.
I mean, I'm not a fan, so I don't know if they liked it or not. But
Mike, what happened?
You back, Mike?
Millie.
Oh no, we lost him.
You're gone.
You are gone. You're in the silence.
I could only imagine him saying they cut him off.
Oh. He was getting too truthful.
They got you, man. They found your undisclosed location.
No, but that is a little suspicious, to be honest.
That is funny, right?
It's a little weird.
I hope my FBI agent's like my.
Are you sitting in a closet, B?
Yeah, I am.
Jeez.
I know. It's private.
Well,
Mike, we're gonna have to work on that. No, I don't know. There's not like nothing.
Mike,
there hasn't been like a shit ton of stuff changing.
Is that a real mic right there in front of you? Like a microphone?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty cool. Oh, nice. Look at that.
Yeah. This shit was cheap too, dude. Like I think, I don't know, like maybe $10 or something. It's just got a USB.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
But to be honest, to recap it, I feel like the first 2 weeks were the most intense, and I feel like this past week has kind of mellowed out a little bit to where it the things have started to become. It feels a little bit more normal, but at the same time, it's a little strange because I feel like even some chains like Dunkin' are just starting to like act like small businesses. Like Dunkin's just like, yeah, we're closed like 11 a.m. today.
Well, they are small
Sorry.
business, they're franchises.
No, I know, I get it, but
Yeah.
you don't normally see like chains operate like that where they just shut down randomly in the middle of the day. They're just like, yeah, we're done. See it. They're like, we'll see you in 2 days.
I've been noticing a lot of people have started cheating on this whole thing. Like, I'm starting to wonder, even if they ask us, like, how many people are going to take this shit seriously for the next month? Like, let's say they say we go till June, like, all your states say that. Like, do you really think that everyone's going to be able to handle it? Because, I have multiple friends already that I know that have been like, we went out and did this, or met this person up, or did that, and kind of asking me. But, I mean,
I'm thinking it's already, you're right,
getting
it's getting looser. Like, there's already more people out when I'm out for, I've been going back and forth to my girlfriend's. So there's that drive, and like just like things at the store. It's definitely already more cars and more traffic and more people out there than there was last week and the week before. So people are starting to like loosen up with that. But as far as like for me personally, I'm thinking like being cautious. I'm gonna be like down to.
Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Holy crap! All right.
But I'm gonna be down to be hanging out with like people. I mean, even I said like even like a couple weeks ago, I said, Vin, you want to chill? Like I would have gone to your house, like because I know you're being conscious. Like I'm not going many places. It's like I even said like it's interesting with the lockdowns. Can they do that or not? But like I understand just like being diligent in yourself, kind of like what yours seemed to be, Mike, with like taking it. I have it, but I think by the end of this month, like I'm down to pretty much go wherever I can as far as like I'm hanging out with people.
David Rockefeller, a trillionaire. Okay.
All right, that's
we are on the verge of a global transformation.
All we need based off of now.
Can I say the quote, or are you gonna block me like the government? We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis. There you go. I'm throwing this phone out because I'm done with this bull.
Mike, this is where I think you're a little wrong. I absolutely think that this is classic no crisis going to waste with things that are happening. I just doubt that it was done on purpose. I think they're in this type of stuff in the lab, as they probably should, right? And it got out based on, loose safety protocols or just one slip up. And
but Fauci and Obama predicted it,
I don't think it's on purpose, but I think it's being used. Like I think it's definitely being used.
Yeah, Fauci and Obama.
Mike, that's not a direct prediction, though. That's a prediction of a given. Like this dude studies this shit, and he's probably looking at places like China, like fucking Bill Maher was just talking about.
So
like
you don't think the fact that he used the word surprise breakout? Surprise breakout.
Do you think that
it's just
you pull up a little close to that router in there.
What happened?
Go around back.
Interfering with you bad.
Wait, are you at my Dunkin'? In Frankfurt?
Yeah.
Oh shit! You got the robot voice thing.
Oh god.
Wait, are you really in Franklin?
Yeah, I'm in Franklin.
Why did you go that far?
Just
go to this. I'm pretty sure the Starbucks has a Wi-Fi.
I thought they would close. I thought they started closing earlier. I think they closed by 8. Or I guess the Wi-Fi's still on though.
Yeah, no, the Wi-Fi's still on.
Why wouldn't you just go to Starbucks right down the road?
I don't know if the Wi-Fi's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Obama and Fauci both predicted it, so it's not weird. It's not weird at all.
I don't think it's hard to predict though.
That's the point though. Like Bush predicted it too. I just watched a video of Bush predicting it on the news. Like they were showing all these figures that have warned against it, but nobody fucking cares. They say, might I say, the surprise thing. That's it. The surprise thing is not like a suspicious line to me because every fucking person I know was surprised by this virus. Nobody was planning this. I was planning on buying a house, and I did not think this was ever be a variable.
You said this in 2017.
I think it's obvious that there are
2 months ago.
I think it's obvious that there are people who travel from the future, Mike. I mean, The Simpsons have called this as well. Like,
Yes, a bunch of cartoons called this right after Kobe's death. It's like, what are you guys thinking? I don't understand. This is all in front of us.
What could that possibly even mean if one cartoonist was Nostradamus? Like, does that mean that he's working with Bill Gates too and making cartoons for him?
Oh, they're in the group. They're in the deep state, okay? You take a pie, okay? Like slices of a pie, all right? And that's the whole globe. You slice it at about 128 slices. One person for each slice. They control that area. This is what happened. And I'm sure Fauci is one of them.
That doesn't make any sense. Because what if you slice it? There's got to be plenty of people that are just responsible for wide swaths of the Pacific Ocean. So what's their job?
I'm sure they get a little land. I'm sure they get a little land.
A little atoll.
that was pretty good, B. That was good logic.
I guess
No, come on. That's a loophole. That's a loophole. You
Dude,
know what I mean.
that's the entry level job, B. That's the intern gets that one.
B, you're not thinking about flat Earth here.
No, of course not. That's ridiculous. Also, there's still oceans in the flat Earth model. Flat Earthers don't deny the ocean.
Yeah, we're all gonna keep laughing till we're at war.
No, I think that like with some of these conspiracy shit, the only thing I say is we got to get specific because, like, I don't know if
I
ever.
got pretty specific.
Look at Alex Jones when he always goes on these shows. He always shouts out like crazy shit, but then he moves on to another crazy subject, and then he just keeps doing it. But like, when you actually start like,
it's all true.
when you gotta pick at stuff and have like a little bit more like okay, this person gave money, like the US government gives money to fucking everybody, we know this, so like that can't be the number one basis, like, or Bill Gates has the largest disease foundation and some famous disease people worked for him, like that doesn't mean that they're all bad, or like that there's just all these the conspiracy type shit, you know, like there's got to be better evidence. There's got to be something a little bit more like concrete to throw around those types of like.
There won't be concrete when the whole thing is a cover up. That's why you have to go off what you know. They're not going to come out and say we're gonna kill all of you.
See,
you're saying they have.
Yeah, you're saying they have to cartoons and shit.
Yeah, they do it. They do that because they think we're stupid.
Why the hell would they do that? I still don't get that part.
Because it's a joke to them. They think we're stupid. They think people are going to be like, oh, yeah, it's just a joke.
I think the problem when it comes to certain conspiracy theory, or anytime like your conspiracy theory is predicated on certain like little clues, it's like, come on, man. Like, you think the deep state has time for Easter eggs? You know, dropping little like, things you look back on and be like, oh, like it's a fucking.
I would say that stuff's all distraction.
What do you think? What do you think they have? Guys, they run the world. What do you think they're gonna do? What do they do for fun?
Clues like I don't think it's it's national treasure.
Literally.
I'm saying like if you got like some hard data and documents, I got the documents right here.
B, have you heard of?
You actually have to read the documents. You can't just say you got them.
The document was sent.
They're too long to read. You wouldn't understand, B.
The bioweapon. That's documented.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm trying to listen.
It's literally documented. So what are you talking about?
The Simpsons episode doesn't count as a documentation.
No, I'm talking about there is a document saying that the government sent money to the lab that created
like
the virus.
Right now, just an echo going on.
No, Mike, I'm on the conspiracy train with you in a way. I'm saying I think that it came from that facility because it leaked. Like I'd be down to say that.
Man. It's gonna be so funny in 4 weeks what we're talking about because a lot's gonna leak.
One of the main objectives of this podcast was to document this week by week. So, Mike, so that on the 10th or the 12th or the 15th episode, we do finally see the break. But my question to you, B, is have you heard of David Icke?
David Icke? No.
He reptilian guy.
Oh.
That's exactly
We just
it.
pulled it up. We
Like,
just pulled it up.
He
No,
thinks,
he's a Wikipedia guy because Wikipedia put that because they are run by the deep state. That's not what he actually is.
I will not tolerate any Wikipedia slander. It's the best website ever created.
I will. I'll send you a private link about him.
All right. What nationality is he?
British.
Yeah, he's British.
Brits. Of course.
I think
But
that
I think we should do closing remarks.
Yeah, we can do that. But I think that the conspiracy shit is great. I like it in a way. I like it because, like what we're saying before, if there's nobody ever questioning things or whatever, like it's kind of like there is no like resistance or something. Like sometimes it is healthy to be like to probe a little bit. Like I remember, like I told you, Mike, I said when this story first started like buzzing here in the US, people were saying, there were some people who were like, what's up with that facility in Wuhan? And I remember seeing like people on comments and Facebook and shit being like, you fucking crackpot conspiracy theorists and all this shit, and just like shouting them down, so they can't, and so it's healthy sometimes, but
Yeah,
I don't know,
take
man.
the word conspiracy out of the dictionary and tell me what it is.
I thought conspiracy just meant a plot between multiple people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that's all it meant.
All right, so let's call it that. So I have a theory about a plot between multiple people.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot more evidence that Bill Gates has literally contributed to like eradicating certain diseases than this one.
And you didn't watch the video where he wants depopulation. Go look it up. You should definitely go watch that, Mike.
I mean,
Right.
That right there is even vague, Mike. I mean, could Bill Gates be saying that it actually isn't healthy to live with tens of thousands of people in one skyscraper? I mean, I don't know what he was talking about, because I would argue that I don't think that it's a good idea to have 20 more million people in New York City. Then I would advocate for depopulation in that area and being somewhere else. So it depends on how he was saying it, why he was saying it, what was the context. Like, there's a little bit more nuance to that.
So you think that depopulation is a good idea?
I just said if you were to shove 20 more million, I mean, do you feel that parts of India, when you watch like Slumdog Millionaire, that it would be good for them to have a little like less people there? And I'm not saying that means eugenics, like you kill them all. I'm just saying, like, if you're just thinking about like disease, governing, all that stuff. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to have a country where they're just everybody lived in major cities. It'd be nice to have them spread out a little bit. I'm not saying that that's what Bill Gates was saying. I'm just saying I got to know what he was talking about. What was the conversation? What was the nature of it? Is it just that he said, I favor depopulation, and then like just kind of like grinned and walked off the stage, and then later this happened? Like, it's got to be a little bit more like, does anybody else feel me here? Is anybody else?
I suggest you watch the video. I suggest you watch it, really.
I think, Mike, next week you should pull up some examples. Like, you need facts to help us understand.
I want to. We need to find out how to get video on the, like, what we share on the screen recorder.
So we'll figure that out then.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think that we should probably close this out because these people are getting antsy.
Who?
The viewers.
I think it's an interesting conversation to have going forward with the whole what Trump said about having the power to open up states that don't want to be. I think that's very interesting.
That's what's gonna be the wheels are gonna be grinded about this week. It's gonna be that.
I think it's very interesting because I'm all for, like, here's the thing, right? I'm not even gonna say what I think. What I think is interesting is, does a governor have, first off, initially have that power to even do these lockdowns? Like, I don't know what precedent there even was for this to begin with, right? So, all right, but let's just say, like, because I'm all for states' rights, states' rights, right? So, I would guess that they do have authority on their states opening or not. But what I find very interesting is that the same crowd who is freaking out over him saying that, and I'm not saying I like it, but I'm just saying the same crowd that's freaking out about him saying he has authority to open the state back up, a lot of the same people were the ones saying that he should have instituted a national lockdown. So how can he have the authority to open it back up? I'm sorry, how can he have the authority to lock it all down, but not to open it back up?
I never thought of that. I never thought of that. That's interesting.
Have that, like, and what's so funny about that is, I think it's like, if any of them is wrong, it's the one.
Is he breaking up or is that me?
Shit, I'm getting bad breakup.
Oh shit.
Yeah, B, we lost you for a sec.
Oh shit! What was the last thing you heard?
I don't know.
Just take it back 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Because I don't know exactly where all that lands as far as who opens what up exactly, but what I just think is interesting to start off with is that same people wanted him to lock the whole country down, but now pissed that he wants to open the whole country up. I think that's very strange. Like, it's either kind of one or the other. And like I said, I think that him from the federal government locking it all down is way scarier than the federal government opening it all up.
I don't think the federal government should be controlling lockdowns at all like this, unless it's like really bad. It doesn't seem, it seems dumb to me. Like like what you had mentioned before, like right when you came in the podcast. I mean, why the hell would you have New York shut down with Iowa? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like, I mean, I can see. I don't know. It's got to be state by state, I think, for a little while. But I mean, this is federalism. We see this all the time in movies, actually, by the way. You probably see this all the time. You don't even realize it. You ever see the movies where you see the fucking classic police departments doing all the work for the crime? FBI busts in and takes over and there's nothing they can do. Like, that's pretty much like what we're seeing, but on a way higher level. Like, when you start seeing local authorities versus federal and who supersedes who. So... I think it's just to be a press battle, if you ask me. But the question will be whether or not it's beneficial for T. Rump. It seems like a lot of times he's immune to certain controversies, so maybe he'll weather the storm. Guess we'll see. You a big Biden supporter, B?
No, man. Biden isn't alive. Is he alive? We get a pulse check. I mean, like,
there's a puppet behind him.
There is nobody that is excited to vote for Joe Biden. The guy has been around for so long that he's dead. Like, he literally has passed his expiration date. I'm not even trying to be too cruel. Like, obviously, it's old age. Like, I'm not also going to give you some type of medical diagnosis. People like to say, "Oh, he's got dementia." I don't fucking know that. I'm just saying he's clearly losing.
Thank you. Someone's aware. I said this.
I don't need a medical degree to say someone's losing it. You know, like, I had buddies like in late high school that were losing it. That wasn't even old age. I was just like, "Hey, man, you good? What you been smoking lately?"
Yeah.
So
that's Mike right now.
Just joking. Yeah, for real. But I think it's so interesting how we're dragging on. I guess I gotta stop. So I don't have to go into Biden stuff.
Yeah. Biden's tricky.
It's just interesting how, like, plenty of people acknowledge this, but I feel like not enough. Like, how are not more people talking like, yeah, like, it's just it's gonna be like Weekend at Bernie's. Like, the dude's just gonna be like dead behind some sunglasses.
Because they hate Trump. They hate Trump so much that they literally would rather vote for Biden.
They should have had somebody with more soul, man. Should have had somebody with a little bit more soul. I feel like Biden.
They all became frauds, though, man. Like, when Tulsi endorsing Biden, like, I don't love her, but I thought she was the best one. If I had to pick a Democrat, it would have been Tulsi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tulsi would have been the best.
Tulsi would have been the best, but still not a fan. But either way, off my fucking list after endorsing Biden. Same thing with Bernie. I think that was today, right? Or maybe yes. Yeah, I think it was today. Bernie endorses Biden. I'm like, dude, like, we're just talking about revolution. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I was Yang Gang to the core. So
Yang wasn't so bad. I liked him personally. I just thought.
Oh, he got us what we wanted. We got that stimulus.
Yeah, who got their checks, by the way?
Not me.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to start that off next week when we do this.
I think we'll have them by next week.
Are we supposed to have them?
Yeah, I think it's April 6th by April 16th.
I want that check.
Yeah, me too.
At first I wasn't about it. I'm like, man, this shit's wrong, you know. But every time my whole life, I'm like, man, I won't be on unemployment. I won't take anything, dude. If everyone's getting this check, I'm getting that fucking check.
How you doing work
Right?
wise?
Everyone else is, it's mine. I'm buying my neighbor's boat over here. I was planning on buying it before, but now with this money, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna name it the SS Stimulus on the side.
Oh. All right. We gotta wrap this
All
up.
right. So you ready to wrap it up?
1:30. We're at 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good stopping point. You guys will have to let me know how it goes because I will not be watching it.
Watching what? Oh, tonight's episode.
I can't rewatch this shit, man. It's too weird. Nicole's up there watching it. I fucking throw smoke on the ground. I disappear.
I'm telling you, if just for the hell of it, just try it, and you'll actually find yourself kind of laughing to it because it is kind of funny. Just because you feel like you're back in the conversation.
What about when you say retarded shit though? Like me, like I realized something last week. I was like, oh, millions of people travel in between Minnesota and Wisconsin every day. You can't stop state to state travel. I'm like, Mike, millions of people do not travel. Like that's fucking way over. And I'm like, I don't want to rewatch myself and see myself saying stupid shit.
I said the virus was race. I said it was race like specific, and I meant gender.
Yeah, I mean, we all slip up. It's natural. It's live talk. This is raw, uncut, natural discussion.
I wish this could go on in person because I feel like I'm more natural in person.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it would go all night in person.
I think it could migrate towards a little conference table down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, it's gonna grow into that.
It'll be a journey for me, but I'll somehow get there.
All right, I'm stopping the recording.
All right, homies. Well, I'm gonna go and chill out. You know what I mean?
All right. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks for having me on.